So this happened last night. First snow of the season. It's always so exciting when it's the first time. Yay! Such a pretty morning. Even the sun came out. That doesn't happen very often when there is fresh snow, so it looks even more pretty. But it's also a sign that winter is definitely coming, and it's here. But we don't mind. Our house is well prepared for this. So winter, bring it on. Yes, winter, bring it on. But guys, let us tell you a story about how we actually prepared the old house for this. As always, we struggled a lot, and it was something completely new to us. The story about how we insulated our house. So this house, at the country house, is very old, more than 110 years old, and is very inefficient.
Oh yeah.
Like, there are very thick walls made of bricks or stones or whatever, but that's basically useless because you need insulation like mineral wool or polystyrene. I don't know if you use that for insulation. Here it's very common. So there is nothing like that here.
And we were thinking about how to improve this house in many different ways. But the thing is that we don't want to spend too much money on this house because we still don't think that we want to live here in this old house forever, that we would rather build a new one.
Yeah.
So we are only trying to do small improvements where we can.
Yeah. The problem with this house is that there is moisture or humidity in the walls. It's coming from the ground, you know, it's not very isolated.
It's not at all isolated. And there are still ways to improve that or fix that. It's expensive, but you could do that. But even if we completely renovated this house and we spent millions on it, it will never be the way we want it to be.
Yeah, because the disposition is that there are windows only on the northern side of the world. So the sun never shines here.
Yeah.
There is one window that points to the east, so in the morning, and the best is to have windows facing south or maybe west as well. But it's not possible here because there are neighbors there, like directly on the property line and property border or whatever that is.
Yeah.
And you can't build windows that way.
It would be illegal.
Yeah, so it's not great here. That's why we don't count with this house towards the future much.
We just know that we don't like it, therefore we don't want to spend much money on it.
Yeah. When you think of energy consumption in a household, the thing that takes the most energy is heating. Heating up a house in our climate.
So the way it works in most houses is that you have a boiler, typically a gas boiler, that heats water, and then the water is pushed to radiators. There's a radiator in each room, and then the warmth from the radiator radiates into the room, heating it up. This is the boiler that we have in our house. It's currently working, as you can hear maybe. And you can see the pipes, water pipes, in and out, and they go into the radiators. This is the radiator, which is in every room, and yeah, this one is cold because it's turned on here.
Yeah. So the one way to improve the house is insulation, of course, but you can't insulate the walls, or that would be expensive, and like that's what we don't want to do, to invest very many money into the house. But there is one more way to improve it, and that's to insulate the ceiling
Or the roof.
Yeah, or the roof from the attic side of the house. That could be quite inexpensive.
Therefore, that's what we did.
Yes, yes. So we were looking on the internet, of course, and also asking our friends or family, because Tommy's dad did that in the past. They insulated, or they had the attic insulated.
Yeah. And they were very happy with that. They said that it helped a lot.
We decided to use mineral insulation. Maybe you call it mineral wool or glass wool. There are minor differences, but of this category, mineral insulation.
Yeah, there are different technologies or different materials, but that one felt the easiest, and that we could do it ourselves without anybody else.
Yeah.
And that's what we liked about it.
Yeah, and the price was okay, it was fire resistant, not flammable at all, and animals don't like it because it's inorganic, so birds or mice or bugs don't like the environment there, so there wouldn't be problems with that.
Yeah.
So we ordered mineral wool from the internet. There are these big rolls. There were 17 of them.
18, but who's counting?
18? Okay.
So they delivered all the material to our country house. It was funny because they loaded it off their truck in front of the house, and I think Peter was still sleeping or something, and I spent like an hour carrying bag by bag inside the yard so that it could be on our property at least.
I would say I was at work. I wasn't here. That must be it. Or maybe I was sleeping?
I'm pretty sure he was sleeping, or at least pretending to sleep.
I don't remember.
And then we had to move it all to the attic.
Yeah, and that was my job, guys, so maybe I woke up.
After all.
So I was carrying it all into the attic? No, Tommy was waiting there in the opening up there, and yeah, it was quite an exercise. So I was happy with myself that I am not totally pathetic, and I was able to carry it there. Yeah.
Oh, but before we did that, we had to clean up the attic. That was a nightmare.
There was so much crap up there, useless things everywhere, so we had to carry them elsewhere.
Not our things, by the way. Those things were already there when we bought the place.
Yeah, like an old motor from a car or something that was so heavy, or old bicycles. Then there were boxes with old newspapers or whatever that was, maybe something from school, and so much dust everywhere. We had to clean that as well, at least a little bit.
Spider webs everywhere.
Oh my god, yeah, spider webs covered in dust, so very great combination when you are there and you end up with all of this in your hair, and yeah, that wasn't fun. But we did it, we managed. Then the mineral wool was up there already, so the only thing that was remaining was to begin. So how that works, how you insulate the attic.
Tell us.
And why? How does this work? So the ceiling seems like a wall, but it's actually not. There is just some wood there, and the heat escapes very easily through the ceiling. First you need a vapor barrier, and you put that on the ground, because otherwise the moisture would get into the insulation and that would make it worse. So you need this vapor barrier It's like a plastic foil, and we had to like stick it together.
Yeah, glue it together because it was like, what, 1.5 meter wide roll.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's a big attic.
Yeah, you need to lay many rolls next to each other. And it's very important that it's glued together very well.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, the function of this vapor barrier would be cancelled.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't fun.
It sounded quite easy in theory.
Yeah, like you just take a duct tape or something and you glue it together. That's the principle.
And it was. But then when you see our attic, there were so many irregularities everywhere and so many barriers or like things in the way that we had to always go around something. It was crazy.
Yeah, that was the worst nightmare.
Yeah.
And the duct tape, there was a special duct tape for this.
And it was quite hard to work with it.
Yeah, it's dark up there. There are these spider webs and you are crawling in dust. So we were hating that.
Yeah.
And we always spent like an afternoon there.
Whenever we could, we just spared some time and worked on that. But at the same time, we had to work in the garden as well, you know, so we couldn't spend the whole weekend in the attic.
Yeah, exactly.
There are basically 3 layers that you need to put or lay on top of each other. First was this foil or something, plastic.
Vapor barrier.
Yeah, to avoid humidity. Then it was the actual mineral wool, which was in 2 layers actually.
Mm-hmm.
So that like you put one layer like this and then the other one like this to hide the spaces in between.
Mm-hmm. The gaps. So the height of the insulation is 28 centimeters. And that's nice.
It's like this many.
Yeah.
And then there was a third layer which was kind of like a cover so that there wouldn't get any dust on top or something like that.
Yeah, that wasn't mandatory. It was to protect the insulation.
There is a disadvantage that you can't walk on it. So the whole attic is unwalkable, or the part where we put the insulation. But we never used the attic anyway. It wasn't livable attic.
It was a complication when we were like laying the materials because you had to think about how to get to the sections, you know? There are these wooden structures where you can walk on, but just a few of them throughout the whole attic. So yeah, sometimes it was balancing and acrobatic moves. There are spaces that are irregular, so we had to cut the wool into smaller parts and like adjust everything so it fits perfectly.
So we typically did like a bit of the vapor barrier, and then we moved to the mineral wool, then we covered it and moved to the next part of the attic. So we like started with the living room, or above the living room. And then when we did one room, when the living room was all done, we were so happy that, you know, we can finally see some progress. Finally, one room is insulated.
Yeah. That was such a great feeling. There were some hurdles along the way, like a chimney that's irregular, then some posts, this weird, like wooden closet or something, but not really a closet, some wooden structure with wool in it that was very weird, like someone was knitting sweaters in the attic or something. Maybe really weird fibers were coming from the wooden structure. So that was like from a horror movie. Then there is this, what was it? Like
it was like a concrete pool or something.
Concrete pool, yeah, like a bathtub where you want to drown somebody.
We still have no idea what it was used for.
Yeah, so I had to crawl over that and like I was reaching somewhere. It was difficult.
Yeah,
difficult, but it was going. somehow slowly there was progress, and after 2 months or something, we were done.
So I think we finished it, at the end of September, beginning of October, something like that.
Something like that. Colder days were here already at that time. We started using the heating at that time.
So it was just in time that we finished.
Yeah, and we immediately noticed that the insulation is working. Like, at least that was my feeling. I have an app in my phone
From our supplier.
from our like natural gas supplier, and you put in the numbers. We have like, you can see the numbers, how much you consume of natural gas, and it goes slower than last year. Like the consumption is lower. We can see the results.
Yeah. It's hard to compare because, it depends on the weather and how often you are here and so on, but yeah, it's quite a big difference.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it will be when it gets even colder. I'm just glad that the insulation is done because it felt like a lot for us. We've never done much DIY, so we had no experience with this. And at the beginning we struggled a lot, but we improved so much during the whole thing. And at the end we were very happy with it. And it made us ready to try something more. So who knows, maybe we'll do some more renovations.
Yeah, less afraid of projects like this one.
It's done! Finally! Woohoo! Yes!